She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. That's the sound of meat and spaghetti, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. As always, I'm here with you. And not only am I here with you, but I brought company. Company in the form of my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard.
Hey, man, are we doing the show yet?
Yeah, man, we're live, man.
I didn't actually.
No cussing, man.
I didn't know that you'd actually started the show yet. I was like, what? What is? Oh.
Yeah, I'm actually just rehearsing, Don.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Welcome to rehearsal. We'll actually do a show someday.
Yeah, this is the walkthrough before the big day.
It's a walk through logic, as it were. Where the hell did my video go?
I don't know. Oh, hey. Yeah.
It disappeared.
Hi.
It disappeared, dude.
Well, we've been having issues.
It has been a bit of an issue, hasn't it, tonight?
Yeah, it has.
Why? I don't know, but
that one.
I got it back.
Wow.
Hold on.
Yeah, that worked pretty slick there, Mr. Big Guy. Squeak.
Well, I had the tab open. I just don't know. I don't know why it didn't stay. Huh.
So, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the Don Longbeard Show, everybody.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I hope you're doing good. How are you, Don?
I'm doing swell. Oh, apparently he's got a frog in his throat.
I've got a whole freaking family in my throat. Jesus, it's like a tadpole farm in there.
Oh my
I don't know. It's a spring air, folks. My spring air. I'm always bitching about winter, but now I'm gonna do it about spring too. I can't wait at all.
God. Just never stop.
Maybe I'm just a perpetual whiner. I'm not sure. I might be, but whatever the case is, it's just the maybe it's a mold, maybe it's a pollen, maybe it's I don't know any number of things. But God, I feel like I can't breathe. But the life of a whiner.
The life of a podcaster.
Any packages? No packages yet.
Packages?
No, we're waiting on a package from Nessie, and nothing showed up yet. So I don't know, but
package from Nessie.
Maybe they strapped it to a seal and just sent it our way or
That's
something.
probably our luck. If it was floating through the Atlantic Ocean, it got caught in some.
They probably hit the Pacific, though. I'm thinking.
Whatever. I don't care. That's even worse, though, because that's where Fukushima is.
Well, I figure it makes the seals probably grow a little bit on their journey.
So they laid down these seals, and then they grew bigger and sunk.
Yeah, they get to be big enough to actually breathe again. I think it's how that works. But welcome everybody to the show. This is the Paranormal Portal. If you're new to the show, thanks for being here and being a part of what we're doing. We are always excited to be doing these live shows. This is where I think we have some of the most fun that we have.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know it's some of the most fun I have, Don. How about you?
Well, I can't think of much more fun than watching. Never mind. People make food, actually.
Watching people make food? What the hell are you watching?
Hold on, I'm still watching.
Don's on the wrong show. He's still in the Food Network over there. Turn off your food porn.
Yeah.
It's time to get to work. Because we got a lot of things lined up for you guys tonight. We've got a lot to go over. We actually made it on time, oddly enough. We had some audio issues that were really cooking my bacon before, but we've sorted those out. And
my clock just switched from 6:28 to 7:07.
6:28.
Now I know what's wrong with my computer.
Are you serious? It did?
Yeah, it just did. I just watched it.
Probably got a virus or something on there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear God.
It's all those shallots on that show I was watching. It's all confusing.
Well, that could do it. But we got a lot to go through tonight. We're going to talk about Skinwalkers. We're going to do the news. We're going to do a lot of things on the show tonight. So I hope you guys are ready to get at it, because I think we got a lot to go through. And I'm excited, as always. The Wednesday shows are some of my favorite shows, because it's the 2 days I've been away. It's coming back at it. This is such, something I really enjoy doing. So I don't know about you guys, but let's get ready, because it's time to get spooky. You like that, Don?
You trying that out?
I'm trying it out. What do you think?
Cool.
Was it good?
It's spooky. It must be spooky.
It's time to get spooky. All right, folks, we are now live and underway. And remember, hour number 2, we'll get into some phone calls. If you want to call in and be a part of the show, you sure can be. You sure can be. Not sewer, but sure can be. And the number is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. God, hold on. Jeez. Oh, all right.
He's dying over there.
I'm not dying. I'm living, Don.
I'm living to die.
I'm not dying, man. I'm living. You're at the end. It's all froggy. God bless it.
You're doing all right over there. Well, so what Brent's trying to say is that don't forget that on Bigfoot Today with our friend Stephen Major. It's our friend Stephen Major's show. This Friday.
Ooh.
What?
Big news.
Yep.
In the studio over in Spokane this Friday on Bigfoot Today, folks. If you're not familiar with Bigfoot Today, get familiar with it. It's a great weekly show about Bigfoot. For those of you that are Bigfoot enthusiasts out there, I know you're going to like it, because they've had some great guests. Just had Tom Seawood on there, who's he's been on Sasquatch Chronicles a number of times, but a great guest. They've had
Beans Baxter.
Beans Baxter was just on today's episode that was just released, and I'm trying to think.
Let me get to Bigfoot Today's Facebook page.
Well, there's so many great guests on there, and
quite a few.
wonderful.
Not Cheweela, Stevens County Bigfoot. What was
Yes,
his name?
Bruce.
Will.
Yeah, Will Grassman Ulmer. Yeah, he's been on there, and I like throwing in his middle part too. But this weekend, or this Friday,
Gotcha.
they're going to have Ken Gerhardt in the studio over there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Don and I are going to make a special excursion over there for this occasion, because I think we're all fans of Ken Gerhardt. He's been doing this for a long time. He's been he's got dozens and dozens and dozens of books to his credit, dealing with cryptozoology and stuff, and just a really interesting guy. He's been around the world exploring these mysteries and looking into the phenomena himself. And he's been a guest on so many programs dealing with the paranormal and cryptozoology. And what a great opportunity. So we're going to get a chance to say hello to him and meet him. And he will also be at the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival in June 19th and 20th. So that's going to be a great time. I would encourage you all to, even though the speaking engagements are sold out for that event,
You can still mill.
there is lots of things going on. So like this whole town is celebrating this festival. And I'm talking about the whole town, like the movie theater in town. It's a small movie theater, but they're going to be showcasing Bigfoot shows all the time, free for admission. They're going to have big tents outside where all of the speakers are going to be out there, and people can talk to them and mingle them and meet them.
Do we have to bring a table so we have a table outside?
I don't know.
Because if we could get some power, we could do some live streaming.
We could. We'll look into it. There's a little bit of time between now and then.
That's
but
true.
Yeah, but that's something to ask for sure. So that'll be coming up again June 19th and 20th. But Ken Gerhardt's making a special trip to Spokane, Washington this Friday to appear on Bigfoot Today. And again, please check out Bigfoot Today. It's a great show. Our friend Stephen Major is the driving force behind that, and it's really a great discussion show dealing with Bigfoot. Not only do they have guests on, but they talk about what's in the news about Bigfoot, what's going on, what people are working on, new developments. They really get into the subject, and they have a lot of fun doing it. So definitely support that if you can. It would mean a lot to us, and because they're good friends of ours, and they've been very amazing people to us. I know Steven's been so supportive of the portal,
yes, he has,
for a long time, and the least we can do is give back and support all of his efforts. And Stephen Majors is also he's the driving force behind Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC, and they're the ones that did the search for the Port Chatham Hairy Man.
Right.
And that's a documentary that is available on Amazon Prime. And they're going to be releasing a new one over the June 20th thing at the theater, free to watch.
Oh, really?
So there's all kinds of things that are going on. There's the speaking engagements. There's the tents. I don't know if they're tents or canopies, but they're going to be all kinds of canopies outside. People can go out and meet the speakers. Bob Gimlin's going to be there. Ken Gerhardt's going to be there. I mean, what more could you ask for? So even if you can't make the speaking engagements themselves, you can go and hang out with these people, check out the movies for free of charge, and just get involved in the whole community. There's going to be lots of other things going on too. So, it's not just capacity. It's whoever shows up. You can be part of this event. So definitely, if you're in the neighborhood, if you're able to make the quest to this mecca of an experience, you probably should do it, because it may be one in a lifetime. Like literally, because, Bob is the godfather of all this. He is the person that brought us the Patterson Gimlin film. He and Roger Patterson, and what an amazing opportunity would it be to meet him. Oh, they had Russell Accord on there too.
Yep,
that was right. The name I was trying to think of, but me and names. I have a supreme dyslexia for names. But anyway, just want to definitely plug that. So check it out. You can find out more about that. Did you post a link, Don?
Yes, I will post it again.
Okay, he's going to post a link in the chat if you guys want to check out more information about it. Please do. It's really going to be worth it. So, hold on.
Oh. You okay?
No,
I need to get you some more milk or something? Do you need
does that work?
Do you want me to get you some scope,
Don, burp me.
Wow. I'm glad I didn't do it. I just went right through my head. I was physically going to do it.
What does that mean?
I was going to flip you a bird.
I said burp me, not bird me.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
It's lost in semantics. It's one of those things that you do every now and then. And then, somebody says something and it's like, oh, you know what? Oh, never mind. That's like, I live out in the country, so I can go outside and pee, right?
Okay. I live in town and I can too.
So
neighbors hate it, but I can do it.
The problem is when I'm at work, because I work in a fairly and I get off work and I'm like, oh, I gotta pee, and I'm like, oh, but I can't do it until I get off. I like whip it out.
There you go.
Can't do those things.
No. Yeah.
So I can't give you the bird on the show.
No, probably not. We still want to be a family show at the end of the day. So, but now sounds like a good time to get to the news. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, along with Mr. Don Longbeard, who is here.
In spirit, if nothing else.
Oh, you've got the spirit, Don.
Oh.
And we've got the news for you guys. We've got a bunch of amazing things going on.
Spirit fingers.
Okay, you're off camera. You just lost camera. You just lost camera privileges. So, we got a bunch of articles to go over here today, and a cool video I want to show you guys too that was sent to me by a listener. It's not his video, but he found it. And it's pretty freaking amazing. And it's going to blow your socks off, guys.
Wow.
It's one that I'm like, oh, my God, what the hell is that?
I'm glad I'm actually wearing socks.
Okay.
Might be an experience.
All right. Let's look at this first. This is a little concerning.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah.
And I might have all 42 of them. I'm not sure. That's what I feel
am
like.
all
I
42
feel
of
like
them.
I'm coughing up right now. Is all 42 of these things. But this is an article from unexplainedmysteries.com, folks. It says 42 new mystery chemicals found in humans.
Mystery chemicals.
How much you want to bet that processed food is probably a part of this?
Maybe some barium and some aluminum. And
Might be from all that cosmic spraying going on.
yes.
I'm just saying.
Let's block out the sun.
We don't need it.
Hey, didn't in the Matrix they burned the sky, didn't they?
They did.
They
yeah.
did.
Yep.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, it was us that burned the sky.
It was. Scientists have discovered dozens of previously unseen chemicals that most of us carry within our own bodies. The study, which was conducted by researchers at the University of California, San Francisco, discovered a total of 55 chemicals. Didn't that just say 40-some? 42 new. Okay, 55 chemicals that have never been reported in people before.
Oh.
Out of these, 42 of them were classified as mystery chemicals. Mystery chemicals, folks, because it was unclear exactly where they had come from or what impact they might be having. It is believed that most of them made their way into our body from various consumer products or industrial processes. There you go, folks.
Wow.
How do you like your glyphosate now? There's Roundup. I got your Roundup right here. You just point at your armpit. It's all in the fatty tissues. They were even found in the blood and placentas of pregnant women.
Wow.
It is important to note, however, that these chemicals have likely been with us for years. Okay.
Yeah, for like the last 10.
Yeah, exactly. These chemicals have probably been in people for quite some time, but our technology is helping us to identify more of them.
Crap.
Said Professor Tracy Woodruff. It is alarming that we keep seeing certain chemicals travel from pregnant women to their children, which means that these chemicals can be with us for generations, Don.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to have Roundup kids. There's no question. Previously identified chemicals found within the human body include those found in pesticides, cosmetic products, flame retardants, various pharmaceuticals, and PFAS. What is PFAS? Pretty freaking... I don't know what AS is. I don't want to start cussing.
PFAS, okay.
Compounds. Their presence is a direct result of our use, consumption of, and interactions with them in our everyday lives, and seems unlikely this will change anytime soon. Exactly what type of effect they may have on us, however, remains unclear. There you go, folks. You are a lot more than you used to be.
Wow.
So whatever the hell PFAS means, but...
Yeah, I just looked it up, and I'm glad they... Per and polyfluoroalkyl.
Oh.
Polyfluoroalkyl.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Per and polyfluoroalkyl substances.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that.
Yeah.
Just full disclosure, I have no idea what the hell that means. But
They're man-made chemicals.
yeah. Yeah, so welcome to the new generations, folks.
Jeez, yeah.
Huh.
Thank goodness.
Wonder why we have these birth defects, Don.
Why don't they just throw us in the Pacific Ocean just off the coast of Japan?
We'll turn into kaiju.
Kaiju.
We'll turn into kaiju.
Wow.
I don't know. But there you have it, folks. We are not what we used to be, apparently, and we're carrying a lot more with us. I wonder how much constantly. I mean, that just can't be good. None of that can be good. That's horrible. And
it gets passed down to our kids.
Well, probably get that through most fast food. Well, I mean, honestly, like when you think about breads are they're full of, like, unless you get organic breads that have are prepared in such a way away from anybody using pesticides.
Right.
Right. And even then, can you leach these things back out of your body? If they've been there a long time, can you get it out of them? Get it out of you?
I don't know.
That's the part I don't know. I don't know how all that nutrition stuff works, obviously. I just need food. I eat it, and then I don't need to eat food for a while. Here's another one. This comes from the UFO files a little bit. Has to do with Nick Pope.
Yay!
Nick Pope, former Minister of Defense of the UK, has been actively involved in the UFO community for quite some time now. And this is an article coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Nick Pope debunks flying saucer photograph. And there's the photograph, folks. And
Wow.
it looks like a shower head or something,
Yeah,
or a
shower
UFO.
Or maybe the disc for your brake.
Yeah, could be it had a flat.
Somebody
Got the
threw
rim
it.
there.
God damn it. Take a picture of that.
A recent image of an alleged UFO in England has been thoroughly debunked by former MOD investigator. Stephanie Marsden had been driving along Chesterfield Road, Matlock, February 27th, when she decided to stop at the side of the road and take a photograph of the full moon overhead. When she looked at the image above, however, a strange circular object had appeared in the sky. But is this really evidence of an alien visitors, or is there more conventional explanation? One man who knows all about the study of UFOs is Nick Pope, an author and UFO researcher who previously spent years investigating the phenomena for the UK Ministry of Defense. When he saw the image, he knew immediately what it was. At risk of people thinking I'm still secretly working for the government debunking all of this, I'm afraid I agree with the people who say it's a reflection, probably one of the dials on the dashboard, he told the Derbyshire Times.
Yeah. What kind of car is it? If it's like an
Yeah.
old Imperial, with the
Maybe.
still got the needle, I don't know.
Although the witness says the engine was turned off and none of the lights were on inside of the car, there's enough ambient light from the moon and the street lights from lights in some of the houses to eliminate one of the dials on an instrument and cause a reflection. These sort of effects are particularly likely to occur when taking a photo through glass. That's true. Yep. And it just goes to show how something mundane in a photograph can be mistaken for a UFO. Wow, disappointing, but it does look like a dial.
Yeah, it
like
doesn't.
The middle you push to, or it could be the ignition, like you push on instead of a key. Those newer cars have those buttons.
But it does look like a reflection. I absolutely agree.
It does. I have to agree too. Interesting, cool story, and makes sense. I can't argue with that. I think Nick Pope's on it. Can't argue with the facts, folks. Here's a cool story I found, and I think this kind of gives me hope that no matter what we do, there might still be hope for this old world. This is an article from, again, unexplained-mysteries.com. This is our go-to tonight for our amazing news. Planet regrew its atmosphere after losing it. Astronomers have identified an extrasolar planet that appears to have regenerated its own atmosphere. While there are plenty of known examples of planets who have lost their atmosphere, such as Mars, it now seems as though it's possible on rare occasions for the planet's atmosphere to regenerate. Situated 41 light years away.
Oh, that's just around the corner.
Yeah, cosmically it is. The catchily titled exoplanet GJ1132b is, at first glance, not dissimilar to the Earth, as both have similar densities, atmospheric pressures, and ages. Unlike Earth, however, this intriguing world started out life as a gas giant before having its atmosphere stripped away due to a close encounter with a neighboring red dwarf star. It's like it took its lunch money, right?
Give it to me or else.
Scientists now believe that the resulting rocky core later managed to produce its own replacement atmosphere of molecular hydrogen, hydrogen cyanide, and methane.
Oh, let's move.
Wow.
We can live there.
It's almost like home. It's super exciting because we believe the atmosphere that we see now was regenerated, so it could be a secondary atmosphere, said study co-author Raisa Estrella from NASA Jet Propulsion Labs. Okay. We first thought that these highly irradiated planets could be pretty boring because we believe that they lost their atmosphere, but we looked at existing observations on this planet with the Hubble and said, oh no, there is an atmosphere there. It is thought that the planet's hydrogen was absorbed into the molten magma mantle and later released back into its atmosphere through a volcanic process. The process works early in the planet's life when the star is hotter, said study lead author Mark Swain. Then the star cools down and the planet's just sitting there. So you've got this mechanism where you can cook off the atmosphere in the first 100 million years and then things settle down and you can regenerate the atmosphere. Maybe you can keep it. And if you can regenerate it, maybe you can keep it. Sounds like Liberty, Don.
Wow.
Ben Franklin quote.
Yes.
Yep. Well, there you go. Regenerated atmosphere, folks. Looks
Wow.
Looks orangey.
How long did it take?
You know, they didn't say.
So it's not likely we'll be around to regrow our atmosphere.
No, probably not. But you know,
Seems a far cry.
someone might enjoy that. Enjoy that little tidbit.
Morlocks.
The Morlocks.
Yes.
Could be. The tunnel dwellers. Isn't it the Morlocks
The Morlocks, yes.
from Marvel?
No.
No?
Morlocks are from Time Machine.
Time Machine.
H.G. Wells.
Oh, the Morlocks. Oh, those Morlocks.
Eli. Eloy.
Eloy.
The Eloy.
Yeah.
The beautiful ones.
Oh, yeah.
Who obviously is not my bloodline. Anyhow.
Don, do you need a moment, or are we good to move on?
Oh, no, I'm good. Let's go. Yeah. I don't have to sit on a pity party.
Okay. Well, we could have one if you want, because we got all the time we need. Here's something interesting, and I don't know if this is. I have not listened to this. The noise you're hearing could very well be the sound of Mars.
What? You already started playing it?
I didn't, but something started.
Something started.
Oh, this started. Never mind. I wasn't ready for that to start.
Oh, okay.
Because that's coming next. This is from Mars, folks.
Where'd the breathing come from?
Huh?
You didn't hear the breathing?
Is it me gasping for breath?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Right at the beginning, it sounded like there was breathing.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
This recording was made on February 22nd, 2021.
My son's birthday.
So Mars was having a party. You hear that bass? There was a rave going on under the crust.
Apparently so. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. You're actually hearing sounds from Mars, folks.
But if there's no atmosphere?
Well, I mean, there's gases around there. It's just not a real dense atmosphere.
Right.
It's a very weak atmosphere.
The background sounds have bbeen removed.
Huh.
That's what it said, huh? It's
Yeah.
interesting. Why would it say that?
Sounds like you're trying to light your stove or something. One of those.
Well, yeah, it's shooting a laser and it's hitting a rock, and that's what you're hearing.
Oh, is it? Okay. That one's kind of annoying. And more. It's got a good beat, though.
Well, it's on a timer.
Yeah.
It's
There
like
you
a
go, folks.
metronome. Yeah.
There is the sounds of Mars. I'm not going to read it because it's going to talk about how they put the rover there, and now we can hear it. The end. Interesting, though. Interesting, though. Sounds from Mars, folks. You've heard it here.
Wow.
Maybe first.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean, I cut right through that one, didn't I? With the Ginsu blade of my logic.
TLDR.
Yeah, yeah. They launched a rocket and it got a rover, and now you can hear it. The end. Here's a video I think is creepy. Let me see what I can find out about this. Video was taken on an ROV, remote operated vehicle, at a depth of 3,753 feet.
Are we going to see mermaids?
Hold on, Don. In the Indian Ocean, with a close proximity to a drill wellhead. Near the end of the footage, you can see the creature getting caught up in the output from the ROV thrusters.
Wow.
The video has not been altered in any way. This is what we're about to watch, folks. That's the disclaimer. Here's the video. Alien-looking creature transforming near ocean floor at over 3,700 feet. And this was sent to me by a listener. Who was it that sent me? I forgot the name. But very cool. Thank you for sending this for us to check out. Here we go. Ready?
Let's go.
It like tore apart almost or something. It's like, what the hell happened? Vroom, gone.
That's crazy.
I don't remember that before. The sparkly parts, right?
Yeah, they say all this, yeah.
Okay, so
and then
this
right there, yeah.
I mean, my God, what is that? It's almost like it's you think of it like a jellyfish, kind of a colony of something that works cooperatively,
Right.
and then kind of shreds.
Cooperative organism.
Yeah, watch how it goes up into the corner and then just kind of disapparates.
Yeah.
Boom. What the hell just happened?
It looks like a Death Eater that got blown
Yeah,
away.
like a Dementor. Yeah. That is just bizarre. I mean, I was just trying to wrap my head around it. It looks like it has dimension, and then it just becomes nothing. But then you kind of see back over here, it's kind of still something left. There it is, folks. I don't know what the hell I just watched, but that is amazing. It's a beautiful thing, whatever the hell it is.
Hey, guess what?
Huh?
Viva says it's a bear.
Of course it's a bear.
Jeez.
It's an ocean bear. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's a Care Bear. I don't know.
It's a careless bear.
It is now. Now it's a careless bear. But, folks, that's been your news. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's get back to the regularly scheduled program. And there we go, folks. That has been your news. We got a lot more to go through. I hope you're ready for a lot more of this paranormal stuff that we pitch here on the show. I got to have a drink, though.
A drink?
A drink. There. I'm a little more hydrated than I was a second ago.
Which was like 15 seconds ago.
Which, yeah. All right, so we got a few things to get through. First of all, there's a... This is apparently from a nanny cam. And This is really creepy. I could have put this on the news, but I thought, nah, we'll just talk about this in the regular advent of the show. But this is weird. Maybe I should wait. Should we start with the Skinwalkers, like I said we were going to do?
No, make them wait.
Make them wait, Don says.
Make them wait.
So you can blame the beard if you don't like this. All right, let's check it out.
Okay.
This is, I don't know, an image of something. Coast to Coast AM is putting this on their website. Baby monitor photographs eerie figure. Let me blow this up a little bunch. Because...
A la bunch?
A la bunch. Stick around, Don. I'm making up new words all the time.
It's a la bunch.
I got a whole vernacular of my own. By Tom Binnall. A spooky image circulating online shows an eerie figure lurking over the bed of a child, and the youngster's grandmother suspects that it is some kind of sinister entity.
Of course.
It does look kind of creepy, though, I got to say. If I saw that, I would think, yeah, that looks sinister.
Yeah, that's true.
But, there's an old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover. The unsettled woman, who prefers to remain anonymous, shared the photograph with a Facebook group devoted to the paranormal last week. According to her, the weirdness began when she noticed that her 2-year-old granddaughter was talking to some unseen person on a fairly frequent basis. These puzzling conversations initially sounded innocent until one night she heard the little girl yelling or telling the visitor to go away. Well, that worrisome moment inspired the grandmother to set up a baby monitor in the girl's room to see what might be behind the strangeness. As one might imagine, she was deeply unnerved when she later looked at an image captured by the camera and saw what is unquestionably a figure of some kind lingering near the granddaughter's bed. She insists that there was no one in the home who could have been mistaken for the odd interloper in the room at the time, and that the photo is not manipulated in any way. The woman went on to note that the demonic appearance of the entity, which seems to sport horns and claw-like hands. In addition to this incident, the grandmother claims that there has been a considerable amount of paranormal activity in the home, including cabinets opening on their own and disembodied voices being heard.
Wow.
Yikes. The family attempted to cleanse the home by burning nettle, salt, and Palo Santo, but this only seemed to agitate whatever was causing all the commotion in the residence. Although the presence of in the residence has left them understandably uneasy, the grandmother believes that it's not necessarily evil, and she gets the impression it simply wants their attention. Should that be the case, it most certainly accomplished its goal by way of chilling appearance on the baby monitor. While the woman's suspicions that there may be a paranormal presence in their home may have merits, the family might also want to ensure that all doors and windows are secure. Well, duh. Because the figure seen in the photo very well could be a human intruder with bad intentions. I don't know. I want to make that bigger if I can. I don't think I can. Can I? Oh, a little bit, I guess. That's it.
See if you can drag it.
What do you mean? Oh, on the corners?
Yeah.
No. It's not giving me any handles to work with here, folks. So it's the same size. I don't know what the purpose of that is. It's the same size, but I think that was submitted to the Paranormal Society of Northeast Georgia, which is showcased here. Reposted with permission from sender. No names for privacy. Original post was posted on this page as well a week ago. Was removed for privacy reasons. The post went viral. Articles made on other pages, blogs falsifying the information sent. I'm trying to clear it up. Photo was sent to this page first. I see no video. There is no video because of this. Certain comments that were flooding original post were also removed. So anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, that's creepy.
So burning nettle salt?
I'd not heard of that
Nettle
before.
salt is something you put on popcorn. It's literally nettles and half sea salt.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe they just figured it was close enough to...
It's got sea salt in it. We'll burn it.
It's kind of like cedar and sage.
Or black pepper and sage, in my case.
Well, that's your marinade.
That's the marinade.
That's the marinade. But anyway, folks, that's an interesting little article. Creepy. I don't think I ever want to see something like that on a cam in my home, because once you see that, you're stuck with it. You can't unsee that, Don.
Nope.
No, once you see that.
That'd be creepy.
That would be creepy, because every time you put your kid to bed, it'd be like, nope, you're sleeping with us now.
Yeah.
Until you're 15. Yeah. As creepy as that is, it's still a lot less creepy than thinking some little being is hanging around your kid. I don't know. It could be innocuous enough. I mean, it could be just.
But why is the 2-year-old saying go away?
Maybe I want to sleep.
Go away.
Maybe he's crabby and tired. I don't know.
No.
I mean, when the minion was 2, he would be like, "Go away!" He wanted to do his own thing, and I'd be bugging him.
But laying in bed, they're already expecting to go to sleep, or
yeah,
at least so. But I mean,
hard to say, folks.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Creepy.
Why are they there? I don't know. I don't pretend to know, but let's get to the meat.
So Kate says there's pants, shirts, long hair, possibly glasses. It's a person.
What?
No, that's what Kate said.
Cade, come on, dude. That's no person. There's no way that's a person.
It's Jar Jar Binks. Oh my goodness.
This is no person.
Oh my. Can't believe you did that.
I'm just saying.
Must be. Never mind.
You're saying this is no person. I'm just saying. No, I don't think that's a person. I don't know. I mean, it could be some weird exposure, but it does seem to be.
He says they totes made a person, mate.
What?
Totes. He totes.
He totes?
Totes, totally. Totes.
Oh, totes.
Totes.
Oh,
He
sorry,
totes.
I'm not all.
They totes made a person.
I don't know this. I don't know this
Loincloths,
vernacular.
what?
I don't know the vernacular. But anyway, let's get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's show. And this is about skinwalkers, folks. Now, this is a creepy subject. There's, of course, this comes from Navajo and First Nations lore dealing with what are alleged to be like evil witches and medicine people. Very dark, very horrible. Many First Nations will still, to this day, not talk about this because there is a belief that it brings them closer. It's discussing such things. So, I mean, I'm not First Nations, and I don't think that it works that way. I believe not, because if that was the case, I'd be so screwed from this whole show if everything we discussed just brought it closer, because I'd have all kinds of problems. But
Yeah.
We've got a whole article here from justforspooks.com, and this article,
Let's get spooky.
it's time to get spooky, is 19 terrifying experiences with the Skinwalkers.
Oh, goodness.
And I don't know, folks. Here's the thing. I don't know if everybody knows what a skinwalker is. Really, they just hear a term. It's like every spirit that does something that bugs you is a demon. Right. Maybe these aren't skinwalkers per se, but people are just saying, "Oh, skinwalker," because that's the closest thing they can give it for a title.
Right.
But let's see what it says. First one. Okay. Anybody who's been out on the Navajo reservation has either probably heard of some creepy things or have experienced pretty creepy things, namely skinwalkers. I've only seen one. Here's my story, but one is enough. If you've seen one, that's way too many.
So Titan says, let's just hope they don't become skin runners.
As long as they're walking, I can deal with it. They start running, I'm screwed.
It's like, what is it, World War Z?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I come from a small town in northern Arizona that's sandwiched between the Paiute Reservation to the north and the U.S.'s largest Navajo Reservation to the south. My high school being so small, a 1A high school that is, that has on average 80 students enrolled every year,
Wow.
always had to travel south about 5 to 10 hours one way to play another high school for any sports. That means we traveled a lot on the Navajo Res, and we also usually stayed at hotels, and we would head out to play and come home in the morning, but this trip was a little bit different. I remember the basketball coach saying that the school didn't have enough money to put up the teams in a hotel that trip, so we were going to be on the road for a total of 12 hours.
Wow.
I was the only male senior to play basketball that season. We had just got done playing our game and headed home on our bus, Big Blue, and we were headed out, and it wasn't long, about 2 hours of driving, before we entered the res. Well, by this time, everyone was asleep, with it being about 2 in the morning. And we had crossed the res's border, and I noticed the bus driver had sped up and was now going about 85 miles an hour.
Wow.
Uh-huh. That guy's seen something. You know he has. I thought this was a little weird because he never exceeded the speed limit, at least not in my high school career. But for some reason, I couldn't fall asleep like the rest of my teammates, and I just sat in the back of the bus staring out across the desolate desert landscape that was lit up by the full moon. As I looked out, I could see a figure running towards the bus at an angle of pursuit and keeping up with the bus at 85 miles an hour. As this figure got closer, I saw that it was humanoid form. As a matter of fact, it looked exactly like a human, only that the face was painted half black and half white, with glowing eyes like a rabbit's eyes reflecting light from a spotlight. And I immediately thought, holy crap, it's a skinwalker.
Not at 85 miles an hour. Thanks, Titan.
Why not?
Because he just said, let's hope they don't turn into skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Or skin runners.
Oh, now it's a skin runner.
Yeah,
Okay,
now
I
it's a
got
skin
you.
runner.
The skinwalker ran up to the edge of the road and just kept up pace with the bus, hurtling sagebrush and rocks while staring at me.
Maybe he thought they were the track team.
Hey, I want to try out. I want to try out.
Give me a try.
After I made eye contact with the thing, I could not look away. It was as if something was holding my head and eyes in place. The skinwalker just smiled at me, this inhuman smile, and went ear to ear, showing crooked yellow teeth, pointed teeth. I felt like I was going to throw up, and I was panicking through the whole ordeal. The skinwalker started to crumple down on all fours, still keeping up with the bus. I could see his bones crack and reform. Hair started appearing all over the skinwalker's body, and in about 3 seconds was now a coyote.
Wow.
And it ran off back into the desert out of view. As soon as it was gone, I ran to the onboard bathroom and puked a mixture of food and blood.
Wow.
I didn't want to tell anybody for fear that they would think I was crazy. I confided with my Navajo friend, and she told me that I needed to see the chief, who also happened to be a friend of mine, and get a blessing. I saw him the next school day in the parking lot. He just came up to me and mumbled something in Navajo while waving a feathered scepter-like thing, turned around, got into his truck, and drove away. To this day, I haven't seen another skinwalker, and it might be due to the fact that I moved away from that town and res, and if I do have to go south, I go around, way around.
Wow.
That is so creepy.
Gosh.
Ugh. 85 miles an hour, Don.
85 miles an hour, Titan.
That's
That's not a skinwalker. Wow.
that's all kinds of wrong.
Why I can understand. Okay, so he went to the bathroom and threw up, but where'd the blood come from? Obviously, that's maybe
Some kind of hex, maybe, huh?
sad. Well, and the but why did the chief come up and do the little ceremony?
Because he knew. I mean, he'd probably thought.
Wouldn't the medicine man come to do that, or the shaman, or
I don't know. Maybe the chief has the ability to wave off curses too.
oh, maybe
That's like the kid was cursed as soon as he saw it.
out. Wow. And it turned into a coyote and ran off, huh?
As it was keeping pace with this
Wow.
bus. Wow, that is so bad. That is so bad. I mean, if you're on foot,
Well,
you're so screwed.
yeah, and he said that he heard the bones breaking. They talk about we were talking to Vic. I'm sure it was Vic we were talking to. And somebody reported that they heard the joints in the things popping.
Yeah. A lot of times with dogmen, that happens when they go from quadrupedal to bipedal.
Right, yeah.
Something
because
in the hips.
The hips and the backer is aligning. And,
So,
Cade, 85 miles an hour. A school bus at that.
Right.
Driving 85 miles an hour. And a Skinwalker keeping pace.
Yeah, I know those buses can move, but I hope that was a straight road, man. All right, let's move along here. And this is number 2 on our list of 19. I don't know how far we'll make it, but we'll go as far as we can, folks. My father owns a small delivery service that operates out of Farmington, New Mexico. That's not funny.
No. Cade says, I crack all the time getting up off the floor.
We mostly deliver small packages to the middle of nowhere that are too much of a hassle for the larger delivery companies to bother with. My dad is the only employee, and we have a few pickup trucks and a trailer. One day we get a delivery out to Window Rock, Arizona on the Navajo Res, about 2 hours from Farmington. My dad gets the call for the job while he is chilling with his Navajo friend, Travis, and his girlfriend. Travis mentions how he's got family on Window Rock and hasn't seen them in ages and suggests they go with him. It was about 6 or 7 at that time, and it was summertime, so Dad decides we'll go down together and he can do his delivery real quick, and while Travis sees his family, I can go check out the Window Rock, big rock face with a large hole in it that goes to the other side. Pretty cool. We had to convoy in separate trucks since my dad's was loaded down with freight. We decided to bring along some it says talkie-talkies, but I always knew them as walkie-talkies. So we could communicate with each other. And we spent our time in Window Rock. Everything is generally uneventful, so we started heading home along the old highway with my dad in front and Travis and his girlfriend in their trucks behind us. I honestly don't remember most of Window Rock trip, but this is the part I can never forget. We're somewhere on the highway between Window Rock and Gallup, New Mexico. It had just rained earlier in the day, and the road was kind of slick, so we were taking it pretty slow. On the left of the highway, there is nothing but sandstone cliffs, and on the right, there's a huge field separated from the road by a small barbed wire fence. We crest the top of this hill, and down at the bottom of the hill, we see what appears to be a very large dog sitting back on its haunches in the middle of the road, facing the cliffs.
Oops.
Yeah, oops. This is where it goes south, Don. My dad calls over the radio, "Hey, Trav, you see that big dog?" Travis starts yelling back over the radio, "That's not a dog. Speed up right now and hit it." He sounds almost hysterical. He just keeps screaming, "Hit it. You have to hit it. Please, please, hit that thing right now." So my dad starts to speed up, and as we got a bit closer, I can begin to see it a little more clearly, and it's covered with this brown, wiry, matted hair that appears to have dried blood all over it.
Ooh.
It's still facing the cliffs, but the moment our headlights hit it, it turns and looks at us, and it has a face. I don't know how else to describe it other than a mix between a bear and a human's face. It looks twisted and distorted and almost in pain. As we get closer to this thing, we start to realize it's actually huge. Though it's still sitting on its haunches, it's about shoulder height with the hood of the truck. We get literally inches from hitting it when it lets out this scream that sounds like someone has their lungs filling up with water, and it leaps backwards towards the field, landing just on the other side of the barbed wire fence. Then, with another leap, it was gone from sight. Travis comes over the radio again. "Oh, man, keep driving. We have to get out of here. We have to go faster." He kept repeating that last part. "We have to get out of here, and we have to go faster." Pretty soon, we are speeding like crazy, and just as we start to come near the outskirts of Gallup, we get pulled over. Travis pulls the truck over with his. Naturally, this makes the cop, a Navajo man himself, very on edge, and he immediately asks why Travis felt the need to pull over as well. Travis says, "We just saw a skinwalker a few miles back, and it's been following after us." The officer immediately turns white, stammers something about a verbal warning, gets in his car, and takes off.
Wow.
We do the same. We didn't see anything else that night, but when we got home, Travis refused to let us leave without taking some kind of Navajo totem thing that was supposed to keep it away. So, yeah, I guess that's my Skinwalker story. Sorry for the length, but thanks for reading it. Any of you guys have any other experiences? I'd love to hear them. That's crazy.
Wow.
Number 3. When I was about 11 or 12, we lived in a small house made of mud and stone. A lot like our house now. It was 2 of my brothers in the house, and everyone else had gone to the family feast and just left us to tend the sheep. We're getting ready for bed when we hear the dogs going crazy outside. Thinking it's nothing more than coyotes howling in the distance, we told them to be quiet. We began to drift off to sleep, and the dogs would not shut up. Somehow I was able to go to sleep for a few hours, and then I woke up very late in the night. It was very quiet and still in the house, save for my brother's snoring and breathing. I realized I needed to use the outhouse and woke up my brother to take me there, and he teased me about being scared, which I certainly was. We went out with our flashlights in the outhouse. The dogs began their crazed barking out in the sagebrush, going from one place to the next. My brother went first, and I waited outside for him. While waiting, I tried to follow the dogs with my flashlight, and suddenly there was a very loud whine from one of the dogs. Then everything went quiet again. It was really too quiet for that time of year. Not even the sheep were making noise. Suddenly, I heard a few of the dogs going completely mad by the truck. When I looked over, there was this man. He was unbelievably tall, leaning one arm on the cab roof of the truck. He was looking at the dogs for a little, and then suddenly kicking one of them, and they all scattered in different directions. The thing looked up at me, and I saw its face. It had a pure white face, like a full moon, 2 burning red eyes, and a slight smile that was pure black. I couldn't move or make a sound. It began to walk towards me with long strides until it finally towered over me.
What?
All I began to see was this dark red, like the color of the blood when you cut the throat of a sheep. I kept getting deeper and deeper into its eyes, and I could faintly hear my brother coming out of the outhouse. With this, the thing looked up at him. Reality came crashing back to me. I noticed that my brother was too distracted with his buckle to realize what was going on, and I also noticed this thing's long hands hovering just inches from my head. Its skin was black ash, and he smiled like a bloated dead animal in the summer, or smelled. And I was still unable to move or speak. The Skinwalker began to move towards my brother. Finally noticing this figure, my brother became paralyzed as I was. Closer and closer it drew, reaching an arm out towards my brother's head, and something finally snapped in me. I became unbearably angry. I broke from the trance and lunged at the Skinwalker, raised my arms like a wild animal, baring my teeth at it. A growl came out that I never knew I could make. I became more and more angrier at the thing that was trying to hurt us. It kept that smile at first, but the angrier I got, the more the smile faded. Finally, with everything I had, I began to make this primal roar at it. It fell backwards and ran away into the night. Looking back at me, its eyes were dim and dull, its smile now long since gone. The next morning, the family returned home from the feast. After relaying the story to my parents, they quickly hired a medicine man. Wow. I don't know, man. That's wild. I don't know very much about the medicine man or the Skinwalker thing, to be honest with you. All I understand about it is that there's apparently a dark path for shamans and in their pursuit. And if they should take this path, and I don't know what it is that grants them the power. Is it communing with dark and evil things? And that apparently they have to do something horribly tragic in order to inherit their power. They have to do something dastardly horrible and just inhumanly horrible and surrender what's left of their humanity in order to take on this spirit, which then allows them to have power and transform and to be horrible and grotesque, but I don't know. It's very, very troubling. But take it or leave it. I mean, the other part of it is that most of us have the Western sensibilities. This stuff seems foreign and weird, and it's like, I don't understand. But these legends have been around forever. What are they based on? What is the root to these stories? Can it all just be superstition? And I don't think so. I really don't. But come to your own conclusions, of course.
Huh.
Number 4. You ready for number 4, Don?
Sure.
Okay. Let me take another drink. Just like Mom used to make. My mom never made water. Just a joke, folks. Just, Mom, you're a great cook for what it's worth, in case you're out there listening.
She was a while ago. You better suck it up.
Mom's out there. I know she is. She's watching me. All right, this is the 4th story in our list, folks, and this is from 1995. I just graduated high school. An old friend and I hadn't talked in about 7 years now. And we were hanging out. He 7 years now, and I were hanging out. Okay. And I said, let's go to New Orleans. And we did. We had $140 between us, and back then that was more than enough. I don't know, where did they start out with? For $140 to get them to New Orleans? They must have lived close, right?
No, not necessarily. You get a bus
Just
ticket
gas
for
money or something?
$70 across the United States back then.
Okay. We made it to New Orleans, almost died from culture shock, and turned around and headed to Magnolia, Mississippi to get some sleep. Sorry. We stayed at Magnolia Inn. It was a junk hole. That's how I'm going to read that. But it was nice and cool. And it was May or June in South Mississippi. Cool is the only adjective that mattered. We stayed up that night playing poker, drinking Gordon's vodka, and talking about who knows what. Probably girls, college, and college girls.
Lies.
Lies. You just inserted lies. Making up stories.
That's what they're doing.
At some point, I said, ever been to Texas? Nope. Pack your bags and let's roll. We had a road atlas. Marshall, Texas was right across the border from Shreveport. We arrived in Shreveport and made a phone call to another friend who we were actually supposed to be staying with, and both of our mothers had called looking for us, and the only person that knew where we were was the buddy on the phone. Well, it was no big deal. We would be home in a day or two. I'm being short on details because I don't want this to turn into a novel-length story about chasing armadillos and being chased by the boogeyman. Before we left that rest area in Shreveport, we made the call. We see an armadillo. Let me tell you something about armadillos. Those bastards will hiss, jump, and turn into Tasmanian devils if you corner them. They also carry leprosy.
They do.
They do, really?
They do.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We were 18. We chased that armadillo around for an hour. Now, let me tell you about Shreveport. I don't know how it is now, but in the summer of 95, it looked and smelled like a place where oil and metal went to die. It was dirty. It was a garbage hole. We crossed the bridge and saw people fishing 100 yards from where the drainage pipe from a factory was spewing forth waste upriver from the fishermen.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Just like the Mississippi.
That's the damn seals in the Pacific bringing our packages.
Yeah. The locals reminded me of the locals in Adamsville. Bald-headed woman, cross-eyed men, a lot of bald-headed, cross-eyed kids. I'm sorry, but it was a Rob Zombie movie come to life. I felt like I was going to be taken advantage of because I had a full head of hair and I could see straight. The best part of Shreveport was an armadillo that might possibly have leprosy. Marshall, Texas was 40 miles away, and we rolled on. Marshall was a decent little town, home of the Fire Ant Festival. We stopped at a little barbecue joint and had a Coke, a smile, and some pulled pork. This is a good writer, though. It was getting late and the sun was setting, and we looked at the map and decided to go backtrack a bit and headed up rural Route 43 through Carmack and past Caddo Lake, and we would eventually run into Highway 59, head to Texarkana, and then head back home.
can of air. 18 wheels rolling.
Eastbound down, loaded up and trucking. When we left the barbecue joint, we headed towards 43. It was dusk. Highway 43 wasn't well lit. It's almost as dark as Natchez Trace Parkway, and I've got a good story about using a pair of pantyhose as a fan belt for an old diesel Mercedes. Do not ever get stuck on the trace after dark, ever. My friend was driving, and we were doing about 45 miles an hour. Any faster would have been reckless, even for a couple of 18-year-old clowns. This road was kind of a Christmasville road. The locals reading this will know what I mean. The non-locals just have to use your imagination. It was dark, winding, full of hills that ended in curves, and there were beady and glowy eyes on both sides of the road. You could hear the crickets and the bullfrogs over the sound of the wind rushing by that old Sentra. It was peaceful and creepy at the same time. The humidity was a real thing, tangible. The air was thick. It smelled like pastures, hay, and swamp. We drove for what seemed like hours, and it was after midnight, and I saw a sign that informed me that Bivens was the next town of any size. I was hypnotized by the yellow lines on the road. We hadn't seen another car in at least an hour. Sleepy, I rolled the windows down and lit a cigarette. There was music coming from the radio, tape player, and it was either Tupac or Bob Seger.
I don't remember which.
One of the two.
Bang bop, and then we were...
I smoked my cigarette, absent-mindedly flicking ashes out of the window, took one last puff and flicked the Camel short off into the woods. Then I saw it.
Of course, because he just smoked a cigarette.
Yep. I never looked to my right. I didn't even peek to the right. Maybe I did a little when I flicked the cigarette away. I don't know. What I do know is that in my periphery there was something running alongside the car. It was just behind my window, behind the edge of the door, ends before the back window begins. I looked over at the speedometer, 40 miles per hour. I looked at my friend. He was looking straight ahead. I looked straight ahead, and I could still see it. I could see one huge arm, matted hair, reddish-brown, sticky-looking primal. I eased my right hand over and rolled up my window. Just not thinking about it. My friend was still looking straight ahead. His jaw was clenched, and he put both hands on the wheel. He sped up.
Wow.
No words were said. I looked straight ahead, and still out of my periphery, I could see that arm moving, muscles and tendons visibly rippling beneath the matted hair. As the car gained a little speed, the thing running alongside us lost pace slightly. I then saw the hand on the end of that nightmarish arm. The hand was clenched into a fist the size of a cantaloupe. A big cantaloupe. That sounds squatchy, though, to me.
Yeah, it does.
It was covered in the same hair, but slightly darker around the fingers. Like it was stained with something. Okay. Suddenly the hand unclenched, and then I saw the claws, black as this damned after midnight Texas night. Those claws were at least 2 inches long. Maybe it's a dog man. Sharp like an animal's. It wasn't a hand so much as it was a killing paw, with claws of some beast whose only purpose was to kill and eat. I looked back at my friend. I looked at the speedometer. 50 miles per hour. I looked straight ahead. It was still there. I lit another cigarette, didn't roll down the window, and simply said, shoot. The music stopped. I finally broke the silence and said, hey, do you? And before I could finish, my buddy said, I see it. I've been seeing it. I can't even see you, but I can see whatever the hell that is. How much do you see? More than I want to. Speed up, John. Just speed up. It can't keep up forever. I looked over. 55 miles per hour. Whatever was chasing us silently was starting to lag behind. I finally looked to my right just a bit. Imagine the scary part of the movie where you put your hands in front of your face, but you still peek through. In 37 years, I have 2 regrets. One is picking up that first cigarette, and the other is me looking to my right that night. This beast was huge. Its chest was above the top of the car, and all I could see was that matted reddish-brown hair, and it bent forward as it ran. I saw the face of this thing. All reality stopped. We were no longer living down some country road in Texas. We were now trying to escape from the depths of a monster-inhabited hell. The thing's face was beyond my powers to describe. It was evil. The eyes were black, and its pupils were red. It flashed its teeth at me in a snarl, yellow and huge. Saliva dripped from its mouth. It opened its eyes wide, and it looked hungry and pissed off. And it opened its mouth, the skin pulled back, until all you could see were black gums and yellow teeth. Immediately, I could feel the car accelerate. Good God, John, just go, I prayed. I cussed. I lit a cigarette. And then, like sunshine breaking through the clouds, the road straightened out. Don't you slow down. We drove through Bivens. We drove through to Texarkana, and then we drove home. We never said a word. It was years later, 11 to be exact, before we ever talked about it again. And we didn't talk about it much. He said he'd never told anyone, and I hadn't either. I told the story a few years back for the first time while I was parked on a gravel road doing the things you do when you're parked on a gravel road with a good-looking woman. I told it a year or so ago to a couple of kids who wanted to hear a scary story while they were all sat around a campfire. They didn't sleep for a day or two, but they asked me a dozen more times to tell them the story. I never told anyone until now that I saw its face. I've been scared for my life exactly 2 times. Once was on that road, and once was looking at a grizzly bear in front of me with a terminal velocity inducing drop to the side of me. Call it what you will. Call it BS if you want. But look me in the eyes and let me tell you this story, and you'll know. Never doubt that there are things in this world that will defy explanation and logic. Wow. The boogeyman is real. Some 16 or 17 years after this happened, I ran across a story and a movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek, Fouke, Arkansas, where the aforementioned story and movie takes place. Isn't that far from Bivens, Texas, as the crow flies? Invite me over, buy me a beer, sit on the porch with me, and I'll tell you the story over a pack of Marlboros and a few of those beers. Yikes.
Wow.
Well written, though. Wow, that was...
And he changed cigarettes because he was smoking Camel shorts earlier.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Looks like he added filters.
Yeah. That's interesting, though, because, that's just a crazy story, And now here we are at 45 miles an hour. Now, maybe Dogman, that might be true, but
I don't know. It's hard to say from the description what he saw, but when he said pointed teeth, it's like, well,
yeah.
All of the witness reports that I've heard, with the exception of maybe just a handful, they're all like, God, his teeth were like chiclets, right. These squared off blocks, It doesn't sound like they're pointy, but right. Whatever this was had pointy yellow teeth. So I don't know, man.
But drive faster.
Just faster. But let's keep going here. Hope you guys are enjoying the journey. Are you guys having a good time? How they doing, Don?
They seem to be okay.
Do they?
Yeah, they seem to be okay.
You guys doing okay? Paranormal.
They have a side conversation.
Thanks for a great show. Fortal family, have a great night. Much lovins.
Titan must be going to bed.
Titan's off to bed. Good night, Titan. Take care, brother. Good. Thanks for being here for a while. Let's continue on our journey, though, because we got more of these skinwalkers to discuss. And it's all kinds of creepy. Again, I don't think that last story was necessarily a skinwalker.
Yeah, that sounded more like a dog.
And that's what I thought. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought when I opened the story, because a lot of times that'll happen. You'll get a couple stories that really do sound like skinwalkers, and then you get a lot of other stories that, I don't know, they sound like Bigfoot for the most part, or dogmen. But in any case, whatever they are, it doesn't really matter, because no matter what you're seeing, you're going to be terrified. Mm-hmm. Number 5 out of 19. I'm probably going to be reading these for a while. We're not going to be able to fit in this whole article.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. I'll read the rest of them on Friday night, probably, when we get back. But this all happened about 5 years ago. One night, a few of my friends decided, after a night of hanging out, that we'd go on an adventure about 3 a.m., Perfect time for an adventure, folks.
Exactly. That's the best time to go.
If you're going to go on an adventure, 3 a.m. is a good time. Not really, no.
Yes, Aussie, it was probably the Minion.
We took a ride about 50 miles to this old Spanish ruin in New Mexico. That was once the seat of the Inquisition. I can't for the life of me remember what the place was called. So we jumped the front gate to the place and start exploring.
Sounds like a great idea.
That already is, we're on a parade of bad ideas right now. So let's see how much worse this gets. One of my friends brought a flute with him, and he started playing it. About 30 seconds into this mediocre playing, something started screaming really, really loud on the tops of the long destroyed walls of the place. It was going from wall to wall really quick, screaming the most blood-curdling scream you'd ever imagined. We noped the hell out of there. One of my friends peed in his pants and drove a few hours to Bandelier National Monument, where we planned to camp out for the rest of the weekend. We go to Bandelier at probably like 6 or 7 a.m. and set up our camp. After a few hours just talking about what the hell happened at the ruins, I went to go to the bathroom behind a probably only like 300 feet from our camp, and this is where everything starts getting a little fuzzy. I remember seeing 2 dust devils coming my way, and when I turned around again, 2 of my friends were there, and they were motioning for me to follow them. I couldn't help but to follow them, like I was being pulled behind them in shackles. I followed them for what seemed like 10 or 15 minutes, and then I snapped out of it. These weren't my friends. They had bright red hair, with my friends' faces and cat eyes.
Ooh.
Both of these friends were brunette. I stopped walking, and they looked at me, probably the most terrifying gaze I've ever seen. Monsters in movies are nothing compared to this. I turned around and ran as fast as I could back the way I came. After like 5 minutes of a full sprint, I got back to that rock that I peed on and found our camp, and everyone was still there, still sitting around talking, and didn't even notice that I was gone. I told them what happened with me with the look-alike Skinwalkers, and we packed up everything and left within like 10 minutes and got the hell back to Albuquerque.
Wow.
Yep, there's a bunch of bad ideas.
Yep. Never follow anything into the desert.
Yeah, never. Even if it's your friends.
Say, no, man. Nope.
No, man, I'm staying by the fire in the cooler.
Hey, what's this thing about? Why do I feel like you're pulling me?
Yeah. Weren't you just the dust devils a second ago? 2 dust devils came towards him, and boom.
Wow.
Next thing he knows, that's creepy. That's creepy stuff, folks. Number 6 on our list tonight. Again, this list is coming from justforspooks.com. Check it out. It's a great site. Obviously, they've farmed a lot of these from Reddit, but this is still a great compilation. It says, I was adopted into a Navajo family when I was no more than 3 months old from Phoenix, Arizona, and lived in Arizona on the Navajo res my whole life. Growing up and learning the language, though I'm not even half of or full, my family dealt with these things called skinwalkers or skin wearers. My mother, born in the 1950s, when she was small, about 6, she said she used to play with her little cousin, who was 5, on the road while her mother herded sheep with her brother, and her father left on the wagon to get water a few miles down. Her cousin's mother lived near her family, so they had company for the most part. Neighbors lived 3 miles west and 4 miles to the south, I-40, Interstate 40, about 26 miles to the south also. Dirt roads in the rural areas they lived in was covered in forests, so there were lots of tall pines, cedar, oak trees everywhere. Great place in Arizona, not too far from the New Mexico border, and not too far from Window Rock, the headquarters. Huh?
That's Window Rock twice.
Yeah, Window Rock again, the headquarters of the Navajo land. Playing by the abandoned dirt road, just the 2 of them, far, far away from the house, and the main dirt road past the large number of trees, having the most awesomeness time. That's what it says. Awesomeness time by themselves playing with their dolls. She smelled something like rotting meat and heard a crunch of sticks and leaves behind her. She looked back towards the large pine tree and that leaned, and under it sat a woman with waist-long dark hair, peppered with a little gray here and there, watching them as they played. Wearing a load of sterling silver and turquoise jewelry, body painted with black grease that stunk, and wore a coyote pelt to cover herself.
Wow.
My mother said she couldn't move and just stared at it, just like as it stared back at her. And by no means was the woman pretty in the least. She was demonic looking, with what could only be described as bloodlust in her eyes, trailed back and forth between my mom and her little cousin. Her little cousin wasn't even aware of it yet because she was a ways up playing in the mound of sand. Heart pumping, ears ringing, my mom said she was so scared. Her breath felt stolen, and the smell was so bad she was getting dizzy. Yet she couldn't move. Finally, she started muttering to her cousin in Navajo. Children could speak Navajo long before they learned English because it was her first language. Vivian, Vivian, there's something under the tree. Vivian, there's something under the tree. Run. When Vivian looked up, she saw the lady. Screaming in terror, Vivian burst into tears as the lady watched them, smiling, raising a figure and beckoning them to come over. My mom grabbed Vivian and ran down toward the main road just in time for my grandpa, who was coming back from getting water with the horse-drawn wagon. Dad, there's something sitting under the tree over there. More like, I don't know how to read that.
Yeah.
Sitting under the tree. And her father got angry, yelling at them. Why are you playing way the heck out of here? Get in. It's probably just your imagination. And looked over. He saw it as the lady had gotten closer, looking at them. That's a skinwalker. Come on. And got back to the house. He went back with his older brothers, but never found it. There was only one person with hair that long, and that was his cousin, who had no kids and lived 7 miles west of them. My mom said she couldn't ever forget seeing that. It was a traumatic experience just knowing what could have happened to them if she had gotten to them first. Nothing good at all. History lesson. Once upon a time, Navajo skinwalkers were used for good. How were they used? They were blessed by the holy ones to help the Navajo people. The blessed ones hunted with it. They spied on the enemies and different tribes, helped defeat the enemies in battle. They used their abilities to keep out the Spanish from venturing into Navajo land. And that is why there are no missions near Navajo land to this day. And only towards Santa Fe, parts of New Mexico, Tucson, and so on, but never on Navajo land. It is also said that when the Hopis decided to move from their original tribe in the Pueblos, they crossed the center of Navajo land and were targeted by skinwalkers. Many died near cornfields, Arizona, and to this day, Hopis decided to live on top of mesas in order to keep away from the ground, bad blood between the two tribes until recently, but the blessed ones became corrupted by envy and greed. They are now used for one's gain and purpose, to cause fear, death, and suffering for the sake of money, gluttony, jealousy, and fun. There's nothing good to becoming one, and there's nothing good in seeking one out. Quotes. We can be as honest as we are ignorant if we are. Anyway, I don't want to read all the quotes. But anyway, that's a creepy story.
Crazy, yeah. You know, and it's funny because I was reading the chat. I don't remember who brought it up, but somebody mentioned the Yaya ceremony, the Hopi Yaya ceremony, and so
I don't know if I'm familiar with that.
yeah, well, neither was I.
Okay.
So I looked it up. It's a rather long article, so I can't really read it. But apparently, it's there are witches known as skinwalkers who can alter their shapes at will to assume the characteristics of certain animals. Most of the world's cultures have their own shapeshifter legends. Best known as the werewolf. The people of India have the were-tiger legends. In the America Southwest, the Navajo, Hopi, Utes, and other tribes have their own versions of skinwalker stories, but basically they boil down to the same thing. A malevolent witch capable of transforming herself into a wolf, coyote, bear, bird, or any other animal. The witch might wear hide or skin of the animal to identify the animal identity it wants to assume, and then transforms. Well, we know all this. where does it get to that? This is such a long thing. I really need to read it, but apparently
It's really long. That's a lot of micro font.
Yeah, but it's supposedly killing witches historically. Wow. I really need to read through this.
Okay.
But
That'd take a weekend for me.
yeah, it's gonna take.
That'd
a
be
while.
like 3 shows.
But I want to find something that talks about the ceremony itself. It talks about Sasquatch. What does it say? Sasquatch. He's an old man, lives on the mountain. So yeah, I'll have to jump into this, but I wanted to see if there was any talk about the actual few legends outside, detective running. Many Navajos believe the Anasazi had a lot to do with witchcraft that runs in their communities. Thus, Anasazi ruins and graves are strictly taboo. It's also said that skinwalkers will use the bones of the Anasazi as their charms. We've heard that before, too.
Right.
In ancient Hopi culture, there was a ritual performed, a ritual ceremony once performed called the Yaya ceremony. In this ceremony, members would change themselves into various animals using the hide from the animal they chose. And the members used certain animal attributes like sight, strength, etc. The ceremony was banned after members developed a disease of the eyes. Navajo skinwalkers, they have the names for them. So there you go. Just there you go.
There you go. Well, that's cool. It sounds like there's a lot of information in there, but
There is.
it's quite the long form.
So that's about the Yaya ceremony. So
Yeah, ceremony. Yeah, you betcha. Don't you know? I'm Minnesotan.
yeah, sure, you betcha.
We got the Yaya ceremony there. So did you go to the store then? Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, I got the milk.
You betcha.
I'll be back in an hour.
All for crying in the mud, don't you know? All right. Let's continue, folks. We're on to number 7 of our list. And we're cooking through this. This could very well be the end of the whole show of what we got left, but you'll have to let me know. Let me know, folks, if you want to hear of anything else or if you're good continuing on the journey of the Skinwalkers. I think this is pretty incredible stuff. But I don't want to take away your right to choose. All right, number 7. Breathe. I was visiting my grandparents out in Shiprock, New Mexico, during last October to see his family and to go to the Northern Navajo Nation fair that week. Many Navajo people, including my own family, are very reluctant to speak about skinwalkers because it's believed to attract their attention. However, I grew up away from the Navajo Nation and was very naive about the subject when it came to skinwalkers. I was an absolute skeptic. My mom used to tell a story of how back in the 80s, when she lived with her siblings and grandparents still in Shiprock, but the southern outskirts, about how she and my aunt saw a skinwalker just outside their driveway under a streetlight. She described it as a black dog with dirty fur, a twisted noodle-looking like front leg, and these unnatural eyes with soft burnt orange glow. Me being my own closed-minded self, doubted every word, but I never said my doubts aloud. But these doubts totally changed last year when I went to my grandparents' house. Me and my family had just finished going to the carnival at the Navajo Nation Fair and called it a night. The house was close enough that where we could just walk home in just 10 minutes, so we did. When we got there, it was about 9 at night, where we stayed up until about 2 catching up about family affairs and the local news. It was during that time that I just decidedly opened my mouth and blurted out the question, "Hey, are skinwalkers real, guys?" I asked. "You shouldn't be speaking about that," my grandmother said, and almost a disturbed yell in her voice. So she and my grandfather both decided to go to bed. Way to kill a moment, dude. After being scolded by my mom, one of my aunts chimes in with a very cautious tone and says, "They're real, all right. I had a few start screaming outside of my trailer in Farmington just a few nights ago. Your cousin had nightmares the whole night and woke up crying that morning."
Wow.
Yikes. Not wanting to push the discomfort any further, we all decided to go to bed. Now, the trailer home is pretty old, and it was really nice, though. A nice night. So we slept with the windows open and the screens to prevent bugs from coming in. And everyone had drifted off to sleep except me because my mind was still going a million miles a minute about the Skinwalkers and wondered if I ever encountered one while here on the reservation. As a kid, I was told it was taboo to think about Skinwalkers because it can still call their attention. And that's when things just hit the fan. Just as I was settling in and finally getting relaxed for sleep, I started to hear something moving outside. Well, I get up from the couch and start wandering over to the kitchen window. In the trailer, all the rooms have the lights out, so the only visible light that can be seen is from the porch light out front. I was thankful for this because I told myself, if it really was a skinwalker outside, then hopefully I wouldn't notice seeing it. It wouldn't notice me seeing it. So I muster up the courage and start to take a quick scan of the outside. From the porch light, all I can see is the dusty ground and the vehicles that my family drove along, with some old metal trash cans that stood beside the road. Looking for about a good 5 seconds, I wasn't able to see anything, so I was getting ready to turn around and walk back to bed, thinking it was just a stray cat or something. Only having taken 2 steps, I hear what sounds like a distorted scream coming from outside. Definitely close by. Fear rising, I look outside again, and there I see it. A coyote-like figure was staring at my direction from behind the cars, just outside of the reach of the porch light. Only it looked awfully wrong, and gave off an evil vibe just from seeing it. It was gray, with very disheveled hair. Horrific orange-red soft glow came from its eyes. Well, I noped the hell out and ran back to the bedroom, and it was at this moment I began to also notice an awful stench in the air that smelled like rotting meat. I started trying to wake up my mom, who was like, "Oh my God, it's almost 3 a.m. What do you want?" I immediately began in a shaken voice, "There's something scary outside." Then she said, now annoyed because I woke her up, "Oh, it's probably just a stray animal or something. It's the res. Animals wander all the time at night." She obviously wasn't getting the drift of what I was saying, so I screamed, "There's some Blair Witch Project stuff going on outside, Ma." That got her attention. What the hell are you talking about?" she asked, and then we heard it. The thing outside started making more of its dreadful like screams and started what sounded like thrashing outside on the ground. "Hear that? That's what I'm talking about." So both her and I got back up and looked outside the window. The coyote thing was making its way towards the door. It walked with an odd limp and dragged its back right leg as if it was handicapped, and we could hear it starting to scratch against the door and make this odd muffled moaning sound. My mom went and got my dad, and they both started shouting in Navajo all sorts of words, telling the thing to go away and saying it's not welcome here. Well, all this commotion was enough to get the rest of the trailer up as they came out into the hallway. The only thing my mom did was turn to them and said "Skinwalker," while proceeding to point to the door, noises still happening. Apparently they already knew exactly what to do, as my grandfather got out a handgun from a drawer and a bag of ashes. He coated a few bullets and loaded them into the gun and went straight to the door. Yelling out more Navajo that was too fast for me to comprehend, he swung the door open, fired twice, nothing. The thing managed to escape before my grandpa could put a bullet in it. "That's the fastest I've ever seen," said my grandpa. Next thing you know, my aunts and my parents are freaking out about what just happened, saying stuff like, "What if it comes back tomorrow? And it saw us. Does that mean we're targets now?" Afterwards, my grandparents calmed everyone down, myself included, saying, "We'll be fine," and we all just went to bed. Morning comes, and my grandparents call one of their neighbors and explain to them what had happened. Apparently, one of them was a medicine man who used to partake in the Yabi Chai Navajo ceremonies used for healing and curing sickness, and came over to bless each family member and the grounds outside. Today, I'm very convinced that what I saw was a skinwalker. I still plan on going back for visits for the family in the Northern Navajo Nation for fair, which is fun stuff. And I just adamantly hope that I never have to have such an awful experience like that again. That's tough, man. I don't know. It's
That's crazy. That just goes to show that there's power in words, especially, when you're talking about these things. And that's why the Navajo never talk about them.
right.
They don't, you mentioned she just asked once. And the grandparents was like, I'm outie. And then that night, it's like, here it is. It's like something just right in your face.
Careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
Now, it is interesting how quickly it was, but, granted, they're in the right place for it to happen.
Well, that's true, yeah.
It's just, that history part was very interesting, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The blessed ones, and then they became the cursed ones.
Right.
And, it's like, wow. So they were good when they were a tool, but then something changed, or maybe the evil just became too much a part of it.
Yeah, too much of that darkness crept in, yeah.
Yeah, and they became corrupt and perverse. Yeah, it's tragic. It's really tragic. But
can you take me off camera for a minute?
I sure can.
I shall return.
I'll wait here. Okay, folks, I'm going to take you into number 8 on our list here. And this is, again, we're going through Skinwalker stories. And this is from justforspooks.com. It's the article of collection, a hell of a collection. And really, really well done. Number 8, I decided to join my bestie Karen for a 3-day stay at her grandmother's place on the res. Her grandmother lives near a place called Tuba City, Arizona, in the middle of nowhere, but surrounded by rural homes. We go to college together, and I was kind of interested to know about Navajo tradition. The first day we stayed, it was pretty chill, nothing out of the ordinary. But then her grandma, not that old, around 67, said that a stray dog came out of nowhere and wouldn't leave. To me, it did act kind of strange and ugly looking. Black, shaggy coat, looked like a mix between a German Shepherd and a Lab. I think I've read this one before in the show, but never this article before. But anyway, stick with it. It's a great story. That night, we were watching a movie in the living room that had big windows that looked out onto the front where the cars are parked. Nothing fancy, with the curtains wide open. Grandma's in the kitchen cooking dinner, and we were watching a movie. Next to the window is a medium bookshelf and where the DVDs are kept. Karen went and put back a DVD we had just watched, but she freaked out that the stray black dog was staring at us through the window, standing on top of the wood box outside. Not something normal dogs do from my point of view, or hers. Usually my dog, which is a house dog, scratches the door to be let in. Res dogs aren't house dogs, and dogs inside houses are frowned upon in Navajo tradition, meant to protect the house and owner. The other dogs seem to stay away from it. Karen opened the door and yelled at it to get off the box, and it ran off behind the shed. We went to Tuba City to get some groceries, came back to the house. The dog was nowhere to be seen. Nothing unusual. Grandma went to visit some people, so it just was Karen and I. At about 5 o'clock, we heard someone try to open the door. Both of us looked out since there had been no car heard and no dogs barking. Looked out in the living room window to the door, and there was the dog trying to open the door with its paws. 2 paws rattling around the brass doorknob, standing on its hind legs. I think this is the one we've read before, but it's a good story.
Oh, Grandma.
Yeah. Oh, Grandma.
Yeah, I remember the Grandma.
Yeah. I thought that was weird, but wasn't really freaked out. Karen was. She opened the door and chased it off. Grandma came back later, and Karen told her. Well, Grandma didn't like what she heard. Got ready to sleep. We slept in the spare bedroom since it has 2 beds, one window with curtains opened a little. We turned off the light, and there was a sound coming from on top of the roof. Pitter-patter, footsteps and scratching sounds and panting. And then it sounded like it jumped off onto the large plastic water barrel that they had. At first, we heard what sounded like barking. But as it grew louder, the other dogs seemed to be barking at something also. But all of a sudden, something was running around the house barking. And it was no dog. Nope, it wasn't. This barking sounded human. A deep male voice barking, like it knew that we knew it wasn't a dog. Woof, 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 ruff, ruff, arf, arf, arf. Just exactly like that. Adding the W's and R's and A's and then panting again by the window. And we started freaking out. Karen decided to, in my opinion, was stupid, open the curtains to look out. There was the stray dog on its hind legs looking into our bedroom. But this time it stunk. And what I thought were two black holes in the neck.
That's right, yeah.
Another pair of eyes twinkled. Think of those ugly, glossy spider eyes staring at you. And the paws were deformed-looking hands with overgrown, somewhat thick and sharp fingernails. Again, both screaming and shutting the curtains closed, Grandma came running through the door and seeing this. First thing she did was grab ashes from the fireplace, load 3 shells into the shotgun from under her bed, bless herself in Navajo, and went outside to shoot it, yelling in Navajo about how the thing wasn't welcome there and to get the hell out of there, for it to go linger somewhere else. Them both being traditional, the next day they called a medicine man to come over and put cedar in. He prayed over everyone, and cedar smoke and an eagle feather blessed the place, made us eat bitter herbs called eagle's gull or something like that, and gave me an arrowhead. Apparently I needed to carry one for protection and a little pouch called corn pollen, which seems to work pretty well. The medicine man said the dog was a skinwalker, which is Navajo long word, but I call them Yoshis. The body of the stray dog, which was killed by the skinwalker, made an illusion so we wouldn't know it wasn't a real dog. He also said that Yoshis tend to harm people by using some sort of human bone straw to spit at someone, think spitballs, only deadlier, and to get human bones into them. Doctors can't detect it, but the medicine man that day pulled a piece of human skull out of Grandma's right shoulder, pretty long, about 2 inches long, and a centimeter thick. It was real because we watched him pull it out of her, and that was intense.
Yeah. So this goes. I thought about this story when you read the other one about Grandpa grabbing the coating the bullets with the ashes and yep,
exactly.
I was like, oh boy. And
so
then this one appears. This is a good one too.
It is. It's a really good story. Really creepy. Wow. I don't know. There's a lot we don't know apparently.
Yeah.
The list is growing of the things I don't know. Number 9. How are we doing on time?
We've got 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Wow. The night is really getting away from us, but in a good way. I hope it's been a great journey for you guys. I love these stories. I love talking about this phenomena because it's creepy. It's weird. And again, these to our Western sensibilities sound fantastical, but these cultures believe in these things 100%. This is not a flight of fancy. It's not a delusions that are shared by a tribal memory. This is something that people still are adamant that they deal with to this day. So take it or leave it, but I think it's always smart to listen to the traditional stories because there's truth. All right, number 9. Every summer, my family and I go to camp in Dedham, Ellsworth, Maine. It's about a 3-hour drive from my house. The camp itself is about an hour from the nearest town. I've been going to this camp my entire life. My family owns it and have never had an incident like this happen before. I was watching TV in the middle of the night. Both of my brothers and parents had gone to bed. Well, I heard a noise coming from the kitchen and then realized that the dogs needed to go outside to do their business. So I took my brother's 2 pit bulls and my Affenpinscher, it's a tiny dog, outside after turning on the porch lights, and I walked around to the front yard and let the dogs out off the leash. It's so incredibly dark in the woods in Maine that the porch light really only illuminated the porch and nothing else. So I tried to keep an eye on them. I was momentarily distracted when I saw a loon. It's a wild bird on the lake. Minnesota state bird too, by the way. When I looked back, I saw the pit bulls were both looking at something in the woods. I couldn't see what it was, but I assumed they'd seen a squirrel or a raccoon. And it was then that I realized that I didn't see Alfie anywhere. She's an awfully small dog, and she's completely black. I called for her a few times and then heard some soft whimpering right where the dogs had been looking earlier. I took a couple of steps in that direction and called for her again worried that she might have gotten her paw stuck between the rocks or gotten stuck in a snake hole. Suddenly, I felt something moving behind me.
Ooh.
I whipped around and looked down, and it was Alfie. She'd been staying close to me the whole time. I just hadn't seen her. So naturally, I was thinking, if Alfie is here, what the hell is in the woods? I took another step forward, and the pit bulls began to growl. They were slowly advancing and were now on either side of me, looking right into the blackness of the woods. I quickly picked up Alfie and began to back up very slowly. I'm not sure what I thought was there, but there are lots of animals in Maine, and I figured the dogs knew better than I did, since I couldn't see anything. Right as I turned around, I heard the most absolutely bone-chilling thing I've ever heard in my life. Coming from the direction in the woods, I heard someone call Alfie's name. It sounded like almost as if it was trying to mimic me, but it was just all wrong. The voice sounded really distorted, and it almost seemed to wail. I freaked the hell out and ran inside with the dogs. I have no idea what was out there in the woods. My camp is essentially a log cabin overlooking a lake, and our nearest neighbor, who is also family, lives at least a half a mile in the opposite direction of where this thing was. Yikes. Well, that's the whole story, so I'm glad that's where it ended. That could be Sasquatch, though. The mimic thing is really common. When we had Linda Godfrey on the show, she told us a story of her neighborhood in Kettle Moraine, Wisconsin, where she always had a neighbor who would go out on her porch and talk on the phone. And she always answered the phone the same way. She'd be like, "Oh, hello, hello, hello," like that. That was the way the lady always answered the phone. And Linda said she was outside, and from down in the kettle, and the kettles are this name for the depressions in the land where these woodlands go down and into these steep bowl-like shapes and valleys. And she said down in the kettle where nobody goes, all of a sudden she hears, "Well, hello, hello, hello," like that.
Wow.
This deep, bassy voice going, "Well, hello, hello, hello." And she thought, oh my God. And there's nobody down there. It's just rugged woodland with huge inclines all around it. So it's, people aren't just going to fall down there and go, "Well, hello, hello, hello." Really strange story, though. But I think they mimic. I think they do.
I think they do.
They can notice our sounds. They're intelligent enough to know that when we do something, it's been explained many times through many guests on our show that we're the entertainment, where they watch us. And as they're watching us, they're learning. So they notice when we make a certain sound, our dog will come. We make another sound, somebody might answer.
Oh, hasn't there been reports of like dogs go missing because they think, the Bigfoot are out there calling them out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people have heard their dogs get called out. They've been standing out there with their dogs and hear, just like in this story, something calling their dogs into the woods with a really big voice. And it's like, oh, or sometimes a mimicked voice. Mm-hmm. Like, it kind of sounded like me, but not me.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's all kinds of creepy, though. Number 10. Normally, I'm completely stoic and don't care for superstition or anything like that. I look on backwoods stories like these with a sort of bemusement and have told, and been told plenty over the years. But tonight was different. I'm a grown man, and moments ago, I just started sobbing uncontrollably and got so nauseous that I threw up my dinner. I don't know what the hell's going on, but after reading some of those encounters, it was like something clicked, and I started remembering. First, a little background. I was a weird little kid, incredibly full of energy and supposedly really smart. I love spending all day outside, roaming the foothills and getting lost and then finding my way back home. I was totally fearless, and it really irritated my parents because, of course, they would get worried, sick about me if I didn't come home on time or even until after dark. I loved exploring, finding hidden places, and searching for interesting bugs and animals, and my parents were convinced I was going to grow up to be a scientist of some type. Yet I had a sort of lack of respect for authority and My constant failure to return on time resulted in some pretty serious groundings. My solution was to stop going out in the daytime and to start sneaking out at night. My nocturnal adventures began when I was about 12 years old. My range quickly increased from the neighborhood to the nearby golf course to the deep woods outside of town. I would sneak out around 12 a.m. and try to be back by 4 or 5 a.m. God, it's got a lot. There's no sleep going on here.
No doubt.
Just before my dad woke up, and I would use my morning shower to clean up and then stumble off to school like a zombie. And needless to say, my grades suffered and discipline measures became even stricter. Still, nobody could stop me from sneaking out and having my adventures in the night. This went on for years, and I never felt afraid, even when the cops were called on me occasionally or someone shot off a gun, or when a huge buck stared me down after I stumbled upon a bunch of bedded down deer. I even heard a cougar scream once close by. That got my heart pounding, but I never felt true terror. Startled alertness maybe, but the total dark wilderness never held no power over me. I felt powerful and vital, like I was doing something that nobody else does, and conquering something that was unassailable for others. Until one night. Tears are coming to my eyes now, and a chill is running up my back as I type this. I never remembered fully what the event even was that made me suddenly, utterly stop my exploration and totally shut myself inside. But reading these stories has seemed to open up the door to something truly awful. I'm going to try to explain what I saw and felt and heard now, and you can draw your own conclusions. It was a very normal early summer night. Cool, no breeze, clear sky, with the stars and the moon outshining so brightly that after getting used to the dark, you could make out shapes and shadows fairly well. A perfect night for an adventure, and I snuck out with my usual routine and quickly jogged out to the neighborhood and past the golf course. I had somewhere in mind that I wanted to go, and my plan was to head down a dry creek bed deeper into a small valley that I hadn't been before. Everything was going just fine, and it was exhilarating to be going somewhere new and breaking a new trail. I didn't get very far into the woods that night, though. Total silence was what made me stop. I remember it very clearly. Usually, it was quite noisy with crickets and other insects, so loud that it was almost annoying at times. But I encountered an area of complete dead silence, with the only sound of the breeze flowing through the pine trees. It was so odd and so sudden that I just stood still, waiting, how I usually did, for some clue as to what was going on to present itself. Instead, an awful sensation flooded my body, a sort of welling dread that made the fine hairs on my arms and legs stand up, and on the back of my neck, too. It was electric and torturous, sheer and utter terror. Then the scream happened. So close, I thought it was coming from above me. The worst sound I've ever heard in my entire life. It wasn't a cougar. I know what those sound like. It was a long, pealing, horrendous wail full of mind-bending hate. In that moment, I was sure I was about to die. God, I can relate to that. That I had made a terrible mistake, and now I was going to pay the ultimate price. Something was moving in the dark shadows of the sparse pine trees right in front of me. Not moving like any animal, not a deer or even a bear, both of which I had encountered before. A lurching motion of four limbs with a shadow the size of a man. It was coming towards me. I was paralyzed. I couldn't even move. Every nightmare a child has ever had about a monster chasing them while they couldn't run away was coming true. After that scream, everything was quiet. It wasn't making any noise. And as they moved towards me, no crackling of dry pine needles, no breathing, nothing. I couldn't move. Tears are streaming down my face now. The terror I put away is coming back. I think I tried to run. I remember fleeing faster than I'd ever moved in my entire life. Total silence, just the pounding of my feet and the scrabbling of my hands in the pine needles and dirt roads or dirt and roots. I remember panting, face in the dirt, knowing I was about to die. I remember the silence coming over me and the terrible chill. I remember the feeling of my bladder loosening and heat flooding down my legs. I don't remember what came after that. When I came to, it was early morning. The sun was just beginning to rise. My only thought was somehow make it home before my dad woke up. And I ran flat out the many miles back home. My dog snarled at me, snapping at my heels as I jumped our back fence. It was so confusing because we were the best of friends since I was only old enough to play with them. I had larger worries because my dad was up. I managed to climb in through the window to my bedroom and change. I went to school that day, but they sent me home with a fever. I never explored at night again, and I was never the same. My dogs never acted the same around me again either. I went from an almost too social, active young man to complete and total social recluse almost overnight. I barely spoke for a long time and almost failed to graduate high school. It was like nothing could ever matter to me ever again. I don't know what happened, but I know something happened. I'm sorry it was very hard to write this with any coherency, because recalling this completely is making me nearly break down again. Till tonight, I haven't cried in almost a decade, and that was when I buried those dogs. I mentioned when they had to be put down from old age and infirmity. I don't know what is going on, but I feel like it was important to share this. Creepy.
Wow.
I don't know, man. I suppose it could leave a scar on you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we've talked to people who have basically PTSD over, Sasquatch sightings and Sasquatch interactions. We have a pretty good friend that has, a bit of that issue too. So
Sure.
It's no surprise that people would have that kind of a reaction to a skinwalker or a dogman as well. So
Yeah, I think whatever happened, he blacked out. It was just too much. The state of shock was too powerful, and he blacked out. And maybe something touched him, something did something to him, marked him. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to know with these things what they are. Are they physical? Are they spiritual? Are they both? Are they something else completely? It's hard to know.
right.
But whatever it is, I mean, they sound like they're pretty much evil incarnate, though. I mean, they don't have any love. They don't have any remorse. They don't have any of the things that stop decent people from doing terrible things.
Right.
They have no resistance. They just do as they will, I guess. But whatever the case, that's the Skinwalkers, folks, and that's pretty much our journey tonight.
It is, yeah.
We had a hell of a roll. I hope you had a good time. I hope all of you guys enjoyed our journey tonight. Please get subscribed if you're not. If you're brand new to the show, love to have you become part of the festivities that is the Paranormal Portal. Just hit that red subscribe button, hit the bell, so you'll get notified when we're online and become part of this. We love to make the family bigger. Holy crap. I used to live in Bar Harbor, and Ellsworth is 5-minute drive down the road. I lived set out back from the road. I lived on Bar Harbor Road. Out front was a furniture store. Glad I never. Yeah. I don't know. All these stories. And again, I can't make any official statements about them. They're presented as they are.
Right.
And from an article that apparently found them on Reddit. But it's a hell of an article and a great collection of stories. Thank you.
It was a great collection.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. And thank you all for being here, all 70. What did we get up to? We got up to like 80-something. 89 we got up to, Don.
Wow.
We had a lot of people here for a moment.
That's weird because my screen still says there's only 43 people.
Wow, are you way behind?
Oh, wait. It also says started streaming 19 minutes ago.
Yeah, you might want to advance a little bit.
I'm all the way at the end.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, crazy.
Cray. It's all cray. But, guys, thank you so much for being here. Don, you got anything in closing?
Don't forget this Friday, check out if you can, wherever it's posted, Bigfoot Today. It'll be on, do they have you know what? I didn't put up a YouTube channel. Do they have a YouTube channel?
They do, but I think it's
Extreme Expeditions.
Yeah, it's Extreme Expeditions. It's Northwest LLC.
Right.
So you can certainly check them out there.
And don't forget about the Teespring.
Let me just put it up there. Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC. I hope I spelled that right. There it is. Yep. And here is their page on YouTube, folks. I'll put it in the chat here, so you can get subscribed over there too and check out their interviews. They did a great job. They're doing great things over there and bringing that Bigfoot stuff to life with some great conversation. So
Yes, sir.
check them out. And the newest one is up today, and that is Larry Beans Baxter. And Larry's got a book coming out now too.
Yeah.
About the Bigfoot. So you're going to want to check this out. But they've had some great guests. Chihuahua Bigfoot, who was on our show as well. Russell Cord, Thomas Seawood. Thomas, I got to watch that episode. I haven't seen that one yet, but I loved listening to him when he appeared on Sasquatch Chronicles a number of times. Just his stories are so amazing. So check them out. But folks, that's all we got for you tonight.
Yep.
That's our 2-hour journey into the paranormal portal. I hope you have all arrived safely back to your place of residence and are ready to have a peaceful and wonderful night. But remember, love y'all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back tomorrow with Night Terrors, so join me. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. All right, guys. Good night, everybody.
Good night.